Hey guys, it's Bailey and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video all about my top Marsala picks for 2015. I'm sure a lot of you are well aware that Pantone has chosen the color Marsala as their 2015 color of the year, and unlike the previous 2 years, last year was lilac and the year before was emerald, this one is a little more wearable for the eyes, lips, and cheeks, and it's very flattering to a lot of different skin tones. The way I kind of think of it is a deep burgundy with a hint of bricky smokiness. So it doesn't lean too plum, and yet it's really not too warm, and it has a hint of ashiness to it. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys have been watching a ton of Marsala related, Marsala inspired tutorials, overview videos, all that great stuff. I've been so inspired by that I really wanted to go through my collection and see what I had, what I'd pick, what I'd recommend, since I know a lot of you guys are going to be going through your own collection, and if you don't have it there, you want to know what to pick up and what can stay on the shelves. So that is what I've done in this video, and it's actually also part of a bi-monthly blogging roundup that I do with a group of bloggers that I'm a part of. It's called Makeup Wars, and if you click, there's going to be a link in the info bar below. If you go click that link, you can see a blog post with pictures, up close and personal of all the products that I'm about to show you, as well as all of their posts are going to be linked in the bottom of that post. You can go see what all their picks are too, which is great because anything that I left out, don't own, don't know about, they are more than likely going to cover. So for all that great stuff, check the link in the info bar, and in the meantime, let's get into the picks. Let's start off with eyes. The first thing I'm going to talk about, I've actually been waving around throughout the entire intro here. It's Sleek's Sunset Palette, and it's actually what's on my eyes today. I'm going to have a tutorial of this look coming up soon, in case you're wondering. This is primarily what I'm wearing. The Marsala on my eyes is from this palette. You can see here, there's actually it's a nice rich combination of what I consider to be Marsala is this shade right here, and then they have paired it with these gorgeous sunset, obviously, shades, oranges, yellows, this beautiful aqua, so it's like this beach combo, but that they're also cranberries and really nice shades similar to Marsala, but some lean more berry, some lean more rusty, and in general you just have a really nice variety of all those shades in this palette. And not only do I really love the way these shadows perform, but Sleek in general is a very affordable brand, and for those of you who have asked me in the past where I get my Sleek makeup, it is on sleekmakeup.com or .us or whatever their website is. I have ordered all of my Sleek makeup from them, and I think at this point they now have free international shipping, or a fixed rate at least US international shipping. So the shipping really isn't unreasonable despite being a UK based brand. Up next is a single. This is Jessie's Girl Pure Pigment Eye Dust in the shade Rouge Flambe, which is actually, it has a shimmery or a metallic finish. I'd say shimmery when you use dry, and then you can really build it and pack it on by foiling it to get this gorgeous metallic finish. And the reason that I really wanted to include this is not only because it is a beautiful Marsala eyeshadow, but it's the only single eyeshadow or the only single Marsala colored eye product I could find in my collection. So in the event that you don't want to invest in an entire palette and you really want that Marsala shade, this is probably what I would recommend, solely because it's the only Marsala colored single that I have. Up next is another palette, and I know I've mentioned a few drugstore more affordable brands, but this is actually mid to high. It is from Vice 3, relatively new from Urban Decay, so good on them for having incorporated such a hot color. But the shade Sonic is a really nice metallic Marsala. So if loose powder isn't your thing and you really like that you get a wide assortment of shades within this palette, this is a great way to get your Marsala in, and you get a nice mix of mattes, you get some nice neutrals over in this column, and yet you're not isolating yourself to just the Marsala shade. It's very complimentary. This palette is a ton of fun, and you get a dual-ended brush. I am wearing some of the neutrals in my crease because the one thing that Sleek palette lacks are matte shades, and I really found that because those in the Sleek palette are so metallic, so shimmery, they really need something a little more matte to balance them out. This is what I reached for, and conveniently enough, it has that Marsala shade in it. And last for the shadows, this is once again from the drugstore, and it's kind of an unexpected Marsala pick. This is from Maybelline. It's their EyeStudio Quad in the shade Taupe Temptress, and you can see there are these beautiful shimmery shadows all throughout, and this over here looks like a plum shade, but in reality it's like this blackened plum, deep blackened plum base, so it's great for adding depth to the outer corner, but the shimmer, and I think you'll really be able to see this in the swatch, is Marsala. You compare it to all of the Marsala hued products that I have swatched on my arm, and you can see that while the base is very distinctly different, the shimmers are Marsala. And so I thought that was kind of a unique pick, where if you don't want to incorporate the entire shade on your lid or wherever it is you're trying to put it, just get a hint of it in the shimmer. Onto the cheeks. This one was a little bit trickier for me. I didn't find a whole lot in my collection, and then I even went to the drugstore to peruse the aisles to see what else I could find. It's kind of slim pickings unless you want to fudge a little bit and go a little berry or even a little warmer bricky brown red. Strictly Marsala's, I have to personally, was a little harder to find, but I do have two options for you. One is ultra bold. It is from the brand Black Radiance, and this is the blush in the shade Warm Berry. But despite being called berry, I really have to say this is a burgundy that leans just the right amount of warm to, in my mind, be considered Marsala. And something I also want to mention, this is extremely pigmented, unlike a lot of drugstore blushes that are very sheer. You have to really work to build them. It's unbelievably pigmented, so definitely apply with a light hand and probably a fluffier brush as you're going in on your cheeks. But if you want something that is pressed or baked rather, I guess, instead of like a loose shadow like Jessie's Girl, even though it's a blush, this is a good alternative, I think. The second blush I have is from Maybelline. It is their highlighting blush in the shade Mauve, and this one's kind of fun, kind of nice, because it actually contains an array of colors. There are two slightly different Marsala-esque colors. One's a little more berry, one's a little warmer, and then there are two champagne-y highlights in here. So if you swirl your blush brush in here, it does give you a nice blush highlight combo. That's currently what I'm wearing on my cheeks right now, and it's definitely, it allows for a little bit more building than say the Black Radiance that's super high impact right off the bat. This you can play around with a little bit more and build it. I think that the highlight shades in here kind of temper that deep berry out. But one thing you might also consider, although it might be a little hard with this, is you can also use it as eyeshadows if you want just a slight hint of that Marsala, but you really love the way these highlight shades look. Take a smaller kind of flat brush and really work into these shades, and you can use them as individual colors on your eyes as well. Last here are the lips, and I want to start with what I'm currently wearing. It's actually a liner. This is from the brand Rimmel. It's their Lasting Finish 1000 Kisses Stay On Lip Contouring Pencil. That's a mouthful, in the shade 61 or Wine. Once again, despite being called wine, which I more closely associate with a deep grape berry burgundy type shade, it leans a little bit warmer. So naturally it fit the Marsala bill. This is what I use to line my lips, and I filled it in ever so slightly, but because I felt my eyes were pretty dramatic in this look, I actually went in with something that isn't Marsala at all. But in the event that you're curious, it is an e.l.f. matte lip color in the shade Praline, which actually from the end looks like it could be a Marsala shade, but in reality it is this kind of nude, deep, dusty nude shade. On to the rest of the lip products. This is probably the most affordable of my picks. It's from Wet n Wild, and it doesn't say which line. This is pretty visually distinct from the rest of their lines of lipsticks. This is in the shade Spiked with Rum, and what I love about it is not only how affordable it is, obviously, but it really smooths on the lips nicely despite being sort of a satin to matte finish, and the pigmentation is amazing. It's totally opaque, there is no streakiness, no smudginess, and it lasts for a relatively long time as well. Granted, it's not a stain, you can't count on like 4 to 5 hour wear, but for a cheap drugstore lipstick, it's kind of the whole package, and of course, it's Marsala. Next is from Covergirl, and it's kind of the counterpart to the Wet n Wild I just mentioned, because not only does it have a hint of shimmer, but it's also slightly more sheer. This is the lipstick in the shade Soulmate, and I do have to say that it does lean a little bit more berry. It's kind of on the verge of being a more berry and less a Marsala, but it's just so beautiful when worn, I had to include it in my picks. Next up is a pick from Maybelline. This is part of their ColorSensation lipstick line, and it's in the shade Rum Riche. The reason I picked this is because if you want a combination between the balmy finish but the opacity of a lipstick, this is what you have to reach for. There is no shimmer in it, and unlike the Covergirl, you still have all the pigmentation of a lipstick, but it's not totally matte, and it's a really comfy formula. I think because it has that emollient balminess to it, it's really comfortable on the lips. And last product and last lip pick is from Rimmel. This is one of their Kate Moss Lasting Finish lipsticks in the shade 11. This was another sort of a fudge because it's, as you can kind of see here, as compared to, this is the Maybelline on this side, this is the Rimmel over here. This is just such a beautiful kind of deep Marsala. I guess it's the dramatic Marsala, if you will. It's kind of verging on berry as well, but it's so dramatic that if you really want to pull that Marsala feel into a nice bold lip for the nighttime or the daytime, because it's winter, this is what I would recommend. It too has a balmier finish, so it's definitely easier to wear on the lips, but unlike, like I said, the Maybelline, it just is a little bit more darker, more dramatic, and it has a hint more of the berry in it. So those are all my Marsala picks for 2015. I would love to hear about yours in the comments below. Don't forget to check the link in the info bar if you are interested in seeing a ton of other Marsala picks from a lot of other fantastic bloggers. Definitely check that out. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.